You know, when it comes to parenting, there's this constant quiet pressure, isn't there? To get everything just right. The perfect meals, the perfect routine, the perfect child. But what if the real magic, the real secret, isn't in perfection at all, but in progress? Today, let's talk about a more compassionate, more realistic way to approach this whole journey. And it all starts with a simple moment.
So, let me set the scene. It all started in a place many of us know all too well. The loud, chaotic, and very public space of a metro train. Yeah, it's a scene that will feel instantly familiar to any parent who's ever tried to manage a tiny human in a big, busy world. Okay, so picture this. There's a mother on this train with her toddler, and she's in that classic parenting situation, right? Just trying to get her energetic little one to sit still. But here's the thing that stood out. She had nothing. No bag full of tricks, no emergency snacks, no toys. It was just her kid, and her voice. I mean, what would you do in that situation? Well, here's what she did. Every single time her child sat down, even for just a few seconds, she'd lean in and whisper, "Good job, Beta. You're helping Mama so much." She wasn't demanding anything. She wasn't scolding. She was just affirming that tiniest little glimmer of cooperation. And that moment, right there, that's everything. See, she wasn't waiting for some ideal, perfectly behaved angel. She was right there in the thick of it, celebrating a tiny 30-second victory. It was a masterclass in focusing on progress, not perfection. But man, why is that so hard for so many of us?
Well, that brings us right to this huge hurdle in modern parenting, what we call the perfection trap. It's that painful gap between our messy, beautiful, totally chaotic reality and those flawless family pictures and expert tips that are all over our social media feeds.
I just love this quote from Salvador Dali. It's not about giving up. It's about freedom. It's permission, especially for parents, to stop chasing this impossible standard and just focus on what's happening right now. But what's the real cost of chasing perfection? What does it actually do to our kids?
And honestly, the research here is pretty sobering. When children feel like they constantly have to be perfect, they start to believe this really heavy thing, that they're only lovable when they get everything right. Psychology actually links this directly to higher anxiety, a paralyzing fear of failure, and you know what else? Procrastination. After all, if you can't do it perfectly, why would you even want to try?
So, if the perfection trap is the problem, then what's the solution? Well, it's a simple but honestly a really profound shift in how we see things. It's all about embracing the power of progress.
So at the heart of all this is a really cool psychological idea called the progress principle. And it makes so much sense when you think about it. I mean, what feels better? Staring up at some huge mountain you have to climb, or looking back down the trail and seeing all the small steps you've already taken? It's that feeling of small, steady forward movement that truly motivates us. It's all about the journey, one little step at a time.
This slide just lays out the mindset shift so perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the language of perfection. It's always focused on what's missing, on the deficit. My child still can't ride a bike. But now look to the right. That's the language of progress. It sees the growth. Wow, she balanced for 5 seconds longer today. It completely reframes not good enough into you're getting better. It's the exact same situation, but a completely different and way more encouraging point of view.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually do this in the middle of a chaotic Tuesday morning when things are going sideways? Let's get into the practical tools for actually celebrating these small wins.
Here are 4 things you can start doing right away. First, reframe what success looks like. Instead of the perfect bike ride, celebrate those 5 extra seconds of balance. You're shifting the goal from a giant leap to a tiny, achievable step. Second, use encouraging language. Good job is nice, but "I saw how hard you were working to figure that out" is so much more powerful, because it praises the effort, not just the result. Third, create little rituals. A special high five, a silly victory dance, it physically marks the moment and makes it stick. And finally, and this one is huge, model imperfection. Let your kids see you burn the toast and laugh about it. You're teaching them the most valuable lesson there is, that mistakes are not the end of the world.
This quote from Anna Quindlen just hits the nail on the head. Giving up on being perfect and beginning the work of becoming yourself. I mean, isn't that the ultimate goal here? Not to raise a perfect person, but to give our kids the space and the courage to become fully and completely themselves? All right, as we start to bring this all together, let's just zoom out for one final reminder of what this all means in the grand scheme of things. Think about one of the greatest fathers in literature, Atticus Finch. He never demanded perfection from Scout and Jem, did he?
Instead, he created this space for them to be curious, to mess up, and to ask really hard questions. He knew that true character isn't built on flawless report cards, but in those small, everyday moments of learning empathy and courage.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to that mother on the metro. She probably went home that day absolutely exhausted, maybe even feeling like she hadn't gotten it right. But in celebrating those 30 seconds of calm, she did something monumental. She wasn't just managing her child's behavior, she was building her child's confidence, and, just as importantly, she was building her own.
So, we'll just leave you with this to think about. Maybe the goal was never about raising perfect children. Maybe it's about raising resilient, happy humans, kids who are brave enough to try, strong enough to fail, and free enough to enjoy the beautifully imperfect journey of becoming who they are.